Back in 2021, LEGO released a playscale version of Boba Fett's Slave 1. A lot of people were asking for a recall of the set back then, however this did not happen until this year. And with that, welcome to my set review of set number 75433, Jango Fett Starship, or Jango Fett Slave 1, this is how it's actually called. This set is part of the LEGO Star Wars 2025 summer lineup. It contains 707 pieces, 3 minifigures, and it retails for a price of roughly $70 in euros. On the front of the box we can see a very cool image of Jango Fett Slave 1 floating in space in the asteroid field over Geonosis. This is of course based on episode 2, where Obi-Wan chases the Slave 1 through this asteroid field and hunts down Jango and Boba till they arrive on Geonosis to see the droid factory, and yeah, you basically know how it continues. It's a very cool image, I really like this front of the box. On the back side of the box you're gonna find the Slave 1 in a landed position on Kamino, which looks once again really nice. And you see the play features that the set offers, and also the KAMINOAN minifigure which is included in the set, which I'm very hyped about. When opening this set, you're gonna get a total of 6 numbered bags, an instruction manual with a pretty straightforward billing process, and a sticker sheet with a total of 5 stickers. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but if you remember, the Republic Juggernaut had about 6 bags as well, and only 106 pieces more, and costs more than double the price. Yeah, I will never get how they came up with the price tag for the Republic Juggernaut. Starting off with the first minifigure in the set, this is of course Jango Fett, as it's his ship. This is basically the same version as the version you get in the UCS Slave 1. Besides the arm printing, this one doesn't have arm printing, which can be a little disappointing for everybody who just wants to get the cheaper set, but I kind of get their reasoning. They just want to have a more exclusive and more desirable minifigure in the more expensive set, which I totally get. You still get a very nice other exclusive minifigure in the set, so yeah, I'm not too disappointed about this decision. But you still do get a lot of the nice details on this minifigure in this set. You get the nice torso printing, also some hip printing, which nicely continues the printing down to the legs, and also some feet printing, so yeah, awesome details on this figure on the front. Now sadly on the back side we can see a little bit of the face printing peek through there, as Jango has a double-sided face in this set, which I like, but yeah, this just doesn't look that good, so yeah, a little nitpick on my side. And here we have Jango without his helmet, and he has the same hairpiece as the clone cadets got in the GWP, which of course fits him pretty well, as he's the DNA donor for the clones. So yeah, I really like this hairpiece. The double-sided face print is also really nice. He got some scars on his face, and he has this one more neutral face and one more angry, concentrated, focused fighting face. Yeah, I like these both equally. Now here's a quick comparison to the last Jango Fett we've got in 2013 before the release of the UCS Jango Fett Slave 1. This was also in a, I think, $30 playset, so it's kind of comparable to this version. And now, even though this new version of Jango in this playscale set here is missing the arm printing from the UCS figure, I still think you can see a lot of improvements on this printing and the details overall, especially the feet printing. And also the new rangefinder piece looks amazing and way better than the old one. Yeah, I still think there's a lot of improvement here. The same applies to the face print here. I think the old one was solid for its time, but the new one is just way more accurate and has just a way better likeness to the actor. Next up we have young Boba Fett, which is also included in this set. This is the exact same version as the version from the UCS model, and yeah, it's the same mediocre version of this minifigure. In my opinion, it's a very inaccurate looking minifigure. The hairpiece doesn't match the actor at all, the color is wrong as he has brown hair, and also the hairstyle doesn't really fit him. I also think that they should have given him dual molded legs. When they did this with the hobbits in the Shire, it was amazing, and I don't know why they didn't give little Boba this, especially for the UCS version. I think to have dual molded legs to replicate the black boots that he wears would have elevated this figure by a lot. And now the third and last minifigure in this set is Lama Su, and it's definitely the most exciting minifigure in this set. We've never gotten this character before, and it's only the second KAMINOAN minifigure that LEGO releases, and it looks once again amazing. We already got Taun We as the first KAMINOAN in 2022 in Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. This is now the second KAMINOAN, and it looks once again amazing. I really like the design of the slope pieces that they use for the bottom of these KAMINOANs, as the very slender and tall legs are pretty hard to replicate in LEGO style. The torso printing is amazing with awesome detail. And they also got most of the details right when compared to the actor, or yeah, let's better say the CGI model from the movie. It's also great that they integrated the collar in the mold of the headpiece, which looks really great, and it's also a very important detail for Lama Su. And also the headpiece with this little fin that he has on top looks really great. The printing is once again stellar on this minifigure. It's an awesome release. I'm so hyped to get this minifigure. This has also been one of the most important characters that was missing from LEGO from episode 2. Now to finally get this minifigure in this set is amazing. There are of course still a couple of characters that are still missing, like Dexter Jetster, but now that we got Lama Su, I'm very happy. Now that we're done talking about the minifigures, let's take a look at Jango Starship itself. And I do have to say, overall this is a pretty good looking build. LEGO was able to capture the silhouette and the overall look of the Slave One in the movie in this small version quite well. And it looks pretty nice. It's not as breathtaking as the big UCS version when you got it on display, but it's still a nice display model, especially if you don't have as much space or money. The top section above the cockpit looks pretty nice. There are a couple of stickers, 4 in total, 2 of these blue ones, 2 of these green ones, to add some detail. They're okay, not really necessary in my opinion, but yeah, it adds some detail, so I applied them. Overall, the top section looks pretty nice. They were able to round out the whole shape pretty nicely with all the slopes and the building techniques, which looks really great. The white wings on each side of the Slave One look pretty fantastic as well. The gray connection is fairly detailed and also really sturdy, so you're not really gonna have to worry about the wings falling off. And once again, the shaping and all the angles around the wings look pretty stellar. All the bricks and slopes come together very nicely. Now overall, I really like the front design of this ship. I think when it's in this flying position it looks pretty great. And all the shaping and everything is pretty nice. They've put a really nice model together, especially at the size of this set. I also really like the nose section at the front with all this green coloring. I only would have wished that this green sticker on the white parts would have been a print, because yeah, you can very easily apply it slightly off like I did here and then it doesn't look as great. Otherwise, I really like the 4 stud shooters at the bottom of the nose. While I would have preferred some brick build things that just are there for the detail, I totally get why they did this as play features, and I think they are well integrated into the design. And they also improved the cockpit area compared to previous versions of this model. However, there's still a small gap there, which I would have hoped that they have fixed this. I'm also a big fan of the backside of this model. They didn't leave it just unfinished, they really finished it off and put a lot of details in there. Especially the engines look pretty nice, and they even included the red stripe down there, which makes the whole back section look like a smiley face. But this is actually accurate to the design of the Slave One, so yeah, big thumbs up for that. And here is one of my favorite play features with this set, the carrying handle. This is pretty much missing on the Juggernaut, and here they included it, which is great. You can just pull it out pretty easily. It's also well integrated into the design, so it won't look bad if you look at the set from the backside. And then you can just fly around the Slave One. The handle is at a very comfortable position, so the balance is pretty nice and it's also pretty sturdy. So yeah, you can switch your ship around pretty easily. I also do want to point out how great this model looks when it's in the landed position. Of course, if the model overall is great, it's gonna look good in the landed position as well. But it just looks really cool when it's in this landed position, like on Kamino. I think if someone would build a little diorama for this, such as the Kamino landing platform, this would look really awesome. Maybe this is an idea for a future video. Definitely let me know down in the comments below if you would be interested in something like this. You can of course open up the cockpit and put Jango and Boba in there. You can put Boba in the back of the set, and he's not really secure on any studs, so he's kind of floating around there, but he's kind of secure as the angles around him secure him pretty well. Then when you put Jango in the seated position in front of him, he's secure in the back, he won't really fall out, he's just not on studs. This looks really cool, especially it's really nice that they included this in such a small model and that they were able to build the area so big that both minifigures could fit. However, there's sadly not really any detail in the cockpit besides something in the back, so no control panels or anything. This had to go to the small scale. Now when you want to turn this model into flight mode, you're gonna have to turn these wings manually yourself. They are gonna droop down a little by themselves, but they're not gonna hit the full horizontal position that they should hit by themselves, as they're just not big enough. But you can pretty much spin them around as much as you want, so this is not really a big problem. Just like the 2021 version of Boba Fett Slave One, the Jango Fett Slave One gets this little transport cart that can double as a display stand. It has some inverted tiles on the bottom of this model, so you can slide it around pretty easily. And you can of course raise this back section up, so you can put it in the back on the ship. And it locks kind of into place like this, and then you have a little display stand, so you can display the Slave One in the flying position, which is really cool. Now while LEGO didn't have to do this with the set, I really hope this becomes more of a standard, that we get a couple of display stands with these sets in the play scale sets as well, as this makes just the display of a set so much more easy, and it just looks very cool. As far as the stud shooters go, you can of course fire all 4 of those. You can fire 2 of each on each side simultaneously, which is a pretty neat feature. Now while you can shove a dude frozen in carbonite up the loading ramp, you can open up this section of the loading ramp and put some seismic charges in there. You can put them in there pretty easily and then close it up again. And now when you're getting chased by a certain Jedi, you can push this little part at the bottom of the Slave One, which triggers a mechanism that opens the door at the back, which releases both of the seismic charges. This is probably one of the coolest features in any LEGO Star Wars playset, and I really love it. It works so well, and when you pair this set up with the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter from 2022, which both look very good on display together, it's just a very cool feature to play with. And now, while I already said it, if you combine the 2022 Jedi Starfighter from Obi-Wan with the 2025 Playscale Jango Fett Slave One, they do make a pretty good duo. This is a super cool playset combo to play with, and also for display if you don't have the space for the big UCS model, which is of course more into scale with this Jedi Starfighter, it still looks pretty nice. What I don't get is why they didn't release both of these sets simultaneously, so just put them out on the shelves together, as they would sell pretty well, I think, as a duo, because they're meant to be together. So it's of course pretty disappointing that they are so far apart from release year, but yeah, it's still a pretty great release. Now overall, I do think this is a pretty great set. I think it absolutely makes sense to not lock this vehicle after so many years behind a $300 UCS paywall. So there's also a version for kids to play with, and also for people with a smaller budget or just not enough space for the big one, who also want a representation of this ship in their collection. Great minifigure selection, while I still don't like the small version of Boba Fett here, as it's pretty inaccurate. I really love the Jango and especially the Lama Su. I think this is just a really great minifigure selection and a great set. And if you compare that with the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter, this is a stellar combination. But now feel free to let me know your opinion down in the comments below. I would highly appreciate a like to support the channel. Stay tuned for all the other LEGO Star Wars 2025 summer reviews. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and other than that, have a great day.